I grew up believing that love had clear, defined boundaries. Family was family, and others fell outside that circle. But life, as I've come to realize, doesn't always respect those labels. Some emotions sneak in quietly, reshaping what you thought you understood. That's what happened between Aisha and me. Aisha was the daughter of my mom's best friend. She was practically family from as far back as I can remember. Birthday parties, road trips, family dinners. Everyone referred to us as siblings, and we played into that role naturally. She called my mom Auntie, and my mom loved her like one of her own. As kids, we were inseparable, racing bikes, bickering over snacks, and fighting for the TV remote. But as the years passed, so did the simplicity of our relationship. Aisha changed in ways I wasn't prepared for. The playful girl I once teased became a quiet, thoughtful young woman with a depth in her eyes that I couldn't quite understand. The shift was subtle at first. I noticed it during an ordinary conversation when she laughed at one of my jokes. There was something about that moment. Her smile lingered in my mind long after, playing like a song stuck on repeat. Without realizing it, I began noticing her in a way I never had before. She wasn't just Aisha, the girl who felt like a sister. She was something more. By the time we started college, the changes in both of us were undeniable. She carried herself with confidence, her voice softer but unwavering. I started paying attention, more attention than I should have. I found myself watching her when she wasn't looking, and when she laughed, it filled the room in a way that made my chest ache, warm and frightening all at once. One evening, she was in the kitchen, laughing with my mom, and I couldn't look away. In that moment, it hit me like a wave. This wasn't the love of siblings or longtime friends. It was something deeper, something I couldn't push away. That realization kept me awake all night, my mind replaying our memories side by side with this new truth. It was confusing and honestly terrifying. But with that truth came clarity. Our bond hadn't disappeared, it had simply evolved. Every conversation, every shared glance carried a different meaning now, a quiet tension neither of us spoke about, but both of us felt. It was real, undeniable, and yet I had no idea what to do about it. I remember a small, fleeting moment when our hands brushed while walking together. She didn't pull away, and neither did I. It wasn't grand or dramatic, but it was enough to make my heart race. It wasn't guilt I felt. It was something even scarier, honesty. I knew then that I couldn't keep pretending. Feelings like these couldn't be ignored. What made it harder was how natural this all still felt. Aisha wasn't a sister to me. She never had been, not in the way people expected, but acting on these feelings felt dangerous, as if crossing some unspoken line. Still, the way she looked at me sometimes, held my gaze a second longer than necessary, told me I wasn't the only one caught in this. One evening, we were sitting quietly after a long day. I glanced at her, and instead of looking away, she met my eyes and held them. It was as if she was silently waiting for me to say something. My heart raced, and I wanted to tell her everything. I wanted to say how much she meant to me, how much I thought about her, even though I knew it could change everything. But I stayed silent, too afraid of the unknown. When things finally did shift, it wasn't during some perfect romantic moment. It was small, simple, and unplanned. We were laughing about something trivial, and suddenly, the space between us felt smaller. I reached out for her hand, and this time, she didn't just let me. She gripped mine tighter. That one touch said more than either of us could put into words. That night, we talked, really talked. For the first time, we acknowledged the feelings we'd buried for so long. Aisha confessed she had been trying to ignore them, convincing herself that we were just family, just friends. But feelings like these don't follow rules or labels. They just are. We talked about our fears, of judgment, of upsetting our families, of losing the bond we'd always known. But sharing those fears, speaking openly, helped them seem less daunting. Our love didn't erase our history, but built upon it. It wasn't about breaking rules. It was about being honest with ourselves, about recognizing that something beautiful had grown between us, quietly, naturally, and without force. From then on, everything between us felt easier, more natural. We stopped pretending, but we didn't rush into anything either. We promised to take it slow, to let things breathe. We knew this wasn't about winning anyone's approval. What we had was ours, and no one else needed to understand it. As time passed, we allowed our families to see just how close we had become without revealing everything. This wasn't about hiding. It was about protecting something still fragile, something still blooming. I'll never forget what Aisha said to me one night as we walked together. We didn't fall in love. We grew into it. She was right. What we shared wasn't some sudden spark. It was steady, gradual, and built on years of trust and understanding. Our love wasn't about drama or grand gestures. It was about the little things, the warmth in her voice, the way she laughed at my jokes, the comfort of her presence. It isn't about labels or definitions. It's about connection, the kind of connection that grows quietly and becomes unshakably real. We know one day we'll need to share our truth with others, but we'll face that moment with the same honesty that brought us here. Until then, we're content to hold on to what we've built, something deep, quiet, and ours alone. Looking back, I'm grateful our love didn't come loudly or all at once. It grew through the small, ordinary moments and became something extraordinary. We weren't supposed to fall for each other, but we did, and it turned out to be the most natural, beautiful thing that's ever happened to us.